Real World News TV with Reggie Kearney and Chair Ann Tappan, bringing you news and politics. Real World News TV every Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 8:30 on the East Coast. Real World News TV, the most interactive, longest-running radio and television show under the Hot Topics Talk Radio Network. Real World News TV, where your comments and your views are welcome. Real World News TV, news for us, by us, that affects us all. Real World News TV. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Real World News TV. I'm Joni Breedlove, and they're making me do their opening. Here tonight was, of course, the beautiful Shara Ann Tappan McCabe. Also, that very handsome gentleman down there in the bottom, Mr. Reggie Kearney. What's going on, crew?
Nothing much. Same old, same old. Mm-hmm. Just a different day.
Well, we got a lot to unpack in 1 hour with everything that's going on. So tonight on Real World News TV, we're going to be hitting some of the hot buttons when it comes to the latest in news and in politics. So I'm hoping that you'll stick around and you'll share your comments, because we have come closer and closer to that day. I don't know if we can call it doomsday or not, but we're getting really, really close to election day, where our votes should be counted. So with that being said, let's jump off in the first bit of news. I didn't write anything down, so I'm flying by the seat of my pants on this one, since you guys made me open. But
and you're doing marvelously. We should have you on more often.
No.
Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work.
But tonight, you know what? I really want to start out by talking about the confirmation and the placement of Amy. I know. She gives you a headache? Yeah. Okay. So we've got a new Supreme Justice that is now being seated. And I think I saw somewhere in the news, sorry, I didn't have a whole lot of time to check out a lot of stuff for today, but I did see somewhere where the question was asked if she plans on recusing herself when it comes to, any bearings on this election at all. What you think, Ms. Shara Ann? I'm going to hit you first.
First of all, I'm obviously disgusted. And in keeping with Trump's actions during his entire administration, he is particularly gifted. I will give him this. He is particularly gifted at literally finding the least qualified person for the job. He did it with the person who, and I'm tired, folks, so forgive me, I can't remember names, but the person that head up the Department of Labor, the person that head up the EPA, the FDA, the whole alphabet soup, every single one of them were put in place literally to dismantle those agencies, those departments. And here you have a woman who has never been a judge, never worked as a prosecutor or a defense attorney or a solicitor general or an attorney general, and in essence did not rise through the ranks like so many of our other accomplished judges that have held that seat throughout history. She's never given an opinion. She's never served as counsel on any legislative body. She barely scrapes the barrel in terms of being qualified. And I guess by that, simply having her JD and her license to practice law. It's really disgusting. And then after that, the first decision she makes after she's told she's going to be confirmed is to do what? Go and stand in front of the Oval Office with Trump while he
does what?
like basically an in-house rally on the grounds of the White House, both of which aren't legal. So as far as I'm concerned, she's already demonstrated poor judgment.
Right.
So I'm not, the fact that she's sitting in Ruth's chair in her office, all of that is just an insult, and I'm disgusted.
Mr. Reggie?
Well, voting has consequences, okay?
Exactly.
The reason we're in this situation is because we as Democrats, we took too much for granted, okay? We never played the heavy-handed politics. We weren't dirty. We weren't nasty. We weren't getting down in the mud. And this is where we are right now, okay? We have allowed the conservatives to take over for 30 or 40 years, okay?
Yeah.
This is going to affect my grandchildren, what is taking place, because we as Democrats didn't do what we were supposed to do. I think we got comfortable in what we were doing, and it has hurt us, okay? Now, hopefully this election will put us back on top as far as controlling Congress and the Senate and controlling the White House. But what's going to happen is we're not going to be able to control what goes on in the courts. So that means anytime we do something in the Senate or the House and pass a decent bill, look at voting rights, they can go and take it to the Supreme Court and make an issue of it, suit behind it. So I mean, they talk about reorganizing the courts. I think they do need to reorganize the courts. I mean, they can take on the federal level, the appellate court, they can take that. They can increase the seats on that. It's been done before. That's why the number is where it is now. And they really got to look at the Supreme Court, because really, do you need people there for a lifetime or maybe 12, 14 years? That's enough. But
that is enough.
I think we need to get rid of.
Yeah, I'm of mixed feelings on that, because on the one hand, you can get rid of these antiquated judges who are just sort of stuck in the past. But on the other hand, it would enable, God forbid, we have someone else like Trump in the future. It enables them to wreak havoc more readily. So that, that's the only thing that makes me nervous. But, we're already seeing the repercussions of a right-wing Supreme Court when we look at Kavanaugh and these other judges that are blocking Wisconsin from being able to count votes past the third. I've seen more activity by this administration to directly negatively impact the integrity of the electoral process vis-a-vis allowing people to vote and count their votes than maybe since the 50s and 60s, when they were preventing African Americans from voting. I mean, right now it is so disgusting. And they're still fighting in various states to prevent people from counting ballots. And what makes this even more egregious are the efforts of this administration over the last several months to disenfranchise the post office, remove post boxes, close post office branches, reduce staffing. How in the ever-loving hell is the post office supposed to count, collect these things and deliver them on time when they have been deliberately undermined? This was the sole purpose for undermining them. And to see a Supreme Court judge, to make a judge against allowing a day or at least one more day for counting these votes, when we know that there's all kinds of fuckery going on in the post office right now because of this administration, pardon my French.
Did you just say fuckery?
I most certainly did. I'm
That's
tired.
my girl.
I'm
That's my
tired.
girl.
I don't have it in me anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm psychically, physically, mentally exhausted. And I've got a quarter inch of straw above the waterline. I don't have, as my husband would say, I'm losing my zen.
But you know what? I think that we look at ourselves and we think, maybe it's just me. We think me. I'm the one that's so bothered by this. I'm the one that's going through sheer hell just listening to news coverage every day. People are really, really, I've never seen anything like this where you have such interest and such involvement when it comes to politics. This has been huge. This is bigger than Obama, because we thought, having a black president, the presumption of having a black president was huge. But this right here, this is something else, because people are actually aware that everything that has been going on are things that have been fought against during the civil rights era. All through our history, people of color have been fighting for the right, to vote, to live civilly. But now it's just not us. This president is affecting people worldwide if we really want to go there. But it's huge.
It's interesting because somebody said very succinctly online earlier that voting Obama in was a matter of history, hopefully a catalyst for change. And it did change some things rather significantly, gay marriages, LGBT equality, protections for them, etc. Not as much for our community as a whole as people would have expected, although I think his hands were tied, and that's another conversation. But this election is more important because it's literally about saving this democracy and saving our country.
Right.
But the thing is, and even Reverend Barber said it, and I was listening to him, it still goes back to the ballot box. We have got to get out and vote. And that's one thing we haven't done great in the African American community. We haven't gone out and voted. And we got to start playing dirty. Okay, if we're gonna get anywhere, we've got to start playing dirty. If we can get control, we got to go crazy. Okay?
Yeah.
We got to throw all morals out the door and get down dirty in order to get control and move things in the direction where they should be moved to.
You say dirty, though, I mean, in the context of what we're going through now, what do you mean?
Look, we need to start making laws. We need to start making laws that benefit us, okay? Benefit our community, okay? All this kumbaya, let's get united BS. The Republicans aren't interested in it. And a lot of the conservatives who are poor whites aren't interested in it either. You see that every night when you see the rallies of 45. Okay, we got to pass meaningful laws that are going to benefit everyone. They might not agree to it, but we've got to put things in place. That's why I say it's time to look at the Supreme Court. It's time to look at the Electoral College. It's time to look at how judges are nominated and how they are voted on. The criteria. They don't have any criteria. The only thing the Republicans have been going on are the Federalist Papers. Okay? That's all they've been doing. If you got a good write-up, here you go. Even the law school instructors and professors at Notre Dame said that this lady, whoever her name is, was not fit to be on the Supreme Court.
Amy Barrett, yeah.
When you hear stuff like that, you have to think, do the Republicans care? Do the guy with the orange hair care? No, they don't.
Well, no, they do care. They care
about it benefits them.
They chose her deliberately for that express reason.
Look, they would have chose a drunk off the street if the Federalists had said choose them. Okay, anybody's going to benefit them. That's all they're doing. We've got to start fighting fire with fire. If we need to impeach some of that justice, both of them, the last two to been on them, impeach them. They have impeached judges before on the Supreme Court, back in the day, way back in the day. But there are options, and we got to start using the options that are at our disposal, and not be afraid of it, and not be afraid of the comments that people make. Just do it, like Nike say. Just do it.
I think it'll be easier though if we can get more of the Senate and more of the House, though, because right now we see what happens. We tried to impeach Trump. We didn't have which was it? We didn't have the Senate, and it amounted to nothing. So it's on the history books that he was impeached, but nothing happened. So we need more control in both houses. What were you going to say, Tony?
If he come back to that again, he might get impeached. Then come on back.
I was going to go back to the fact of going out to vote, to the polls, and Reggie's saying, well, we've got to get down and dirty, get in the dirt with these other folks, right? But you're talking about, claims that on November 3rd, on the election night, you're going to have intimidation of folks standing at the polls, people from right-wing organizations who are there to intimidate the voters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Reggie, what do you think about, having the black militia scattered out throughout the country? I'm not saying I'm calling for them to do that, but what I'm saying is,
where are they? When we call them, give me a phone number. I call them.
No, because we know you all about a gas can and a match. So,
right.
But what do you think that kind of outcome would bring? Because then you're just adding a lot of fuel to that fire.
Well, the thing about it, I was looking into it. There are only a few states in the country that where the militia may be a problem. Okay, so it's a thing where you go, maybe even going into some of those counties that are predominantly white is probably not even worth it, because the main goal is going to be intimidation. Now, we had a problem over here in Fairfax, Virginia, when they first started 2 weeks ago. Started their voting, okay, early voting. Some guys came out there with guns and stuff, and because Virginia's an open carry state, but when the police got there, they moved along, okay, and that's what you're going to need. You're going to need for the police to come in and just they'll move along, okay, So with my fraternity, we've working with the Lawyers Committee. We, there are 800 numbers you can call and to talk to lawyers, and hey, then we can push back on them and call the police and ask them to have them removed from the site, or the election judges can come out and ask them to be moved from the site. Okay, I think in the hillbilly counties of a lot of these states that are open carry and where they have a very minimal amount of African Americans, I think you might have some intimidation there. But I don't think people are going to let themselves be intimidated.
It's really been off the chain. You had a police officer in New York suspended because he was in his control car using the microphone to say Trump 2020. Yeah, I mean, this year, the only thing we're missing literally is, an outer space alien invasion. We've already we're up to alphabet, but Zeta for hurricanes. I mean, what more could possibly happen this year? But what worries me is not just the so-called militia, and we use that term sort of homogeneously because they're all not bona fide militias. Some of them are just boys with toys who like to play army. But, in these open carry states, you had a gentleman, I don't know what state it was in, who pulled a gun on a bunch of girls who were protesting Trump. I mean, talk about snowflake pansies that have to pull out their guns because somebody doesn't agree with them, but they call the left snowflakes. Those are the folks that worry me. The trigger happy, itching to go out, itching to do another Tulsa, itching to do another Philadelphia 1985. These folks have lost their mind. You've got, the kidnapping attempt at the Michigan governor and the Virginia governor. I mean, what the hell?
But you got to understand, these individuals that sit around acting crazy.
I was going to read his comment. I'm sorry, Richard.
Yeah. These individuals that sit around acting crazy, they don't have jobs. They're uneducated. The wives done left and took the kids with them. They're paying alimony. They just plain out hate life, okay? So then they get caught up in all this ideology that doesn't mean a crap. Look at them now. Looking like fools are going to spend the next 13 and 14 years in jail for being stupid, okay? It's just
unless Trump pardons them.
Yeah. Hey, and we'll put them right back in jail. It's the ignorance. It's the ignorance of a lot of people that's causing this, okay? And I don't even pay attention to them fools. I really don't.
So Derek says they're not going to do anything if they didn't do it when Obama was elected. They're not going to do it now. Some of these white folks are crazy, but they ain't that damn crazy.
I don't
I hear
agree
you,
with
Derek.
that. I
I
don't
agree
agree with
with
that. The reason why I
Yeah.
don't agree with that is because, number one, I knew after Obama was elected that he wasn't going to be assassinated, because they didn't want to make a martyr of him, because our community was really galvanized after he won. Right now, the supremacists of this country and the wannabe white supremacists and racists of this country are galvanized under their almighty orange cult leader, Trump. And so they think there are no ramifications. They think that the administration supports them. They think that Trump will pardon them, or that their local racist police department will bury the evidence or not find evidence, or do what that guy did, the attorney general did in San Francisco. They feel as though they have the support of the administration to act out their fucking crazy insanity. Whereas they didn't have that during the Obama administration. You didn't have people trying to kidnap the governor of Michigan and Virginia during the Obama administration, but they did it now.
That's just crazy.
Not because they are fearful of Trump, but because they suspect that this administration will support them and won't do shit. And we've seen for the last 3 years the support this administration has for police officers who murder people in their beds, murder people in their streets. They've gotten away with it time and time again. So I appreciate Derek's opinion, but I do think they're that crazy.
Well, I don't agree with you to a certain extent, Sharon, because this is the reason I don't agree with you to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they had all that much pull and that much interest, and people that were, they were that interested in what they were doing and the chaos they could have caused, then the informant would have never came forth. Okay, they would have allowed the process to take place. Okay,
they had a weak link.
So there are some people that don't buy into this mess. Okay, the informant was somebody from that neighborhood. Okay, didn't buy into it, didn't believe it. Okay, then when we talk about police reform, that's a whole nother show where we still got problems, because we got people. Got a young man that got killed last night in Philadelphia. Got shot about 10 times. Why? Why couldn't you just shot him in his foot or shot him in his kneecap or something?
Why do they all need to shoot him simultaneously? Like one.
Exactly.
Overkill. Amadou Diallo all over again.
Yeah, I know, but you still got to look at the self-defense part of it. The guy was coming at him with a knife, but still, they could have no. Listen, okay. Now they could have shot him in the knee or something. They did not have to shoot at him 10 times. Okay,
I agree with that 100%.
It was a better way to handle it. Okay, one young lady, wait, give me 1 second. And like one young lady said, that we've got to stop depending on the police and handle situations that they're not capable of. Okay, you need to call in other people. There were other ways to try to handle this situation without killing him. Okay, and that's what we got to move. That's why we need this police reform. Here in Maryland, we've got a lot of things done in police reform statewide that maybe, hopefully, it'll be a blueprint for this country.
I don't disagree with you. I agree that there needs to be police reform. I agree that we need to fund more social services and whatnot. But what I have a hard time accepting is that they didn't need a social worker to figure out how to do that differently. They are so blinded by their hate and fear of the black man that they killed that man outright. How many videos have we seen of young white men or women attacking the police with knives, with machetes, with AK-47s? I watched a video today of some white teens smacking a police car with some sports thing. I can't remember what the sport was. Crack the glass. They didn't fear for their lives and shoot them. We've seen men come at them with machetes. And they will talk to them for a half an hour and back up while they're doing it. Put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down.
Every day.
They do not shoot them. They do not kill them.
It goes back to racism in the police department. Okay, it goes back to the point where you've got individuals now, because not all police officers, you have individuals with racist attitudes, okay? And when they have the opportunity to kill a black man, they do it. They do it. Like I said, they could have shot that guy one time yesterday, and he probably would have failed, dropped the knife, and they could have arrested him. Okay.
Why did they all feel the need to shoot? Like that's something I don't understand.
So all of them
Training,
felt in fear of
training.
their life against one person with a knife.
Yeah, who was at least
Training.
6 feet away from them.
That's it's simply not justified to me.
Training.
Well,
They train to shoot. They train to shoot to kill, and that's what they beat into their brain. Okay,
they
beat
train
into
to
their
shoot
brain.
and kill black men and women. That's what they're trained to shoot and kill.
But
Period.
but like I tell people too, these young guys now, we've got to sometimes suck it up and deal with a lot of situations. Just like the guy in Maryland that was on TMZ. Okay, you know. Now you sit in the car, you continue to, the spit out the law like you're a lawyer, okay? But you got 2 warrants on you, okay? You know, one of the police officers was able to identify him. Okay, young man, we need to see your ID. You got 2. Now he's gonna talk about, well, this is a traffic stop. We don't need to do this, okay? Now that whole thing could escalate into a whole nother situation, okay?
I have a question about that though.
But wait for 1 second. You got to stay alive. And my suggestion is you can always get a lawyer and sue after the fact, okay? The main game should be now, keep your mouth closed and stay alive. Do what they ask you to do and stay alive. Not try to get on TMZ, not try to get on nightly news. Just do what they ask you to do and then get you a lawyer and then sue the crap out of them if they're wrong.
Well,
Here's my
look,
question though. I didn't see the video.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tony. Did they identify him before he gave them the ID, or did they identify him?
He never gave them
They
the ID.
assumed that he had warrants, and they happened to be right.
Well, no, I think they ran through and found he had warrants. Okay,
But if he didn't give ID, how could they run him?
Because someone knew him in that group. Someone knew him.
Mm.
Okay, so they knew his name and everything. They knew the whole story. Okay, but his main point was, this is a traffic stop. Just give my girlfriend a ticket and let us go.
Yeah.
Okay, they knew they knew his name. They ran it, and they saw he had 2 warrants, and they weren't going to let him go without arresting him. Now, in the back of your mind, you got 2 warrants.
No, we definitely didn't have a sense of self-preservation. But I ask this because I have not seen one video, and we know that there are plenty of non-African American men and women who have warrants out on them who act stupid and act out. I have never seen one being dragged out of a car like this. And I guess on the heels of everything else that we've seen over the last 3 years, even though I admit that in this instance he should have kept his mouth shut and complied because he had warrants, but I'm just so sick of the disparity. We have to learn how to act with self-preservation, but the other side can do whatever the hell they want without any ramifications. It's just I'm sick and tired of it. That's all. I'm sick and tired of it.
And this is something I also had a conversation when I told them, it's not just the white cops. When you get in predominantly African American areas like Prince George's County, Washington D.C., some of these black officers off the hook. Okay, the whole problem of police brutality cuts both ways. Cuts both ways. I mean, and you want to see some black cops in action, get pulled over in Prince George's County, Maryland.
Oh no, my statement isn't that black police officers can't be just as bad, because they receive the same indoctrination as the other police officers. My comment is that you don't see white people being treated this way anywhere with this consistency. So even though in this instance there's an element of this where I'm going to have to not offer this young man as much support as I would like to, on the cusp of everything that's happened over the last 3 years, it's just I'm just sick of seeing it. If we saw this level of treatment, this level of aggression with all the citizens in this country who have warrants out on them, it'd be different. But there is this primal tendency to escalate things immediately when you're dealing with a person of color. And that's just, it's just exhausting.
But it comes back from our treatment over the years. It comes back from slavery. I mean, attitudes haven't changed. The only thing we are free to do is have a good job, have a good place to stay, drive a nice car, and have some money in the bank. Okay, everything else hasn't changed.
If that.
Yeah, nothing has changed. We are still looked at as lower class, second class citizens. Heck, Asians get better treatment than we do. Hispanics get better treatment than we do. I mean, we're at the bottom of the barrel, okay? And that has always been the attitude of a lot of people in white America that, oh, don't worry about that, they ain't nothing. You know, give them a little bone, give them a job.
Let me read this comment from Derek. And Derek, you know my thing. I hate long comments because I can't put them up. He says that it is difficult to aim for the leg based on distance. Remember, there are bystanders and a bullet will most likely go through a leg. It is oh crap, it moved. It is difficult, but they could have just ran away from him. However, a knife makes the situation different. And I have no idea what happened prior to that. I am actually a 12-week course on, I hate when it moves, on police situations and someone who had to do a simulation. I tried to shoot one time, and if that person was on drugs, one bullet would not have stopped it.
I hear you, but multiple police officers shot him. So if they were worried about bystanders, they wouldn't have all shot their guns simultaneously.
Hey, but it's no good shooting, it's no bad shooting. Well, it's all bad shooting, but it's no good shooting. Okay, like I said, these guys are going off what quote unquote perceived training. and like I said, I tell these young guys now, just keep your mouth shut and just deal with the situation, get you a lawyer and handle it then. Don't go toe to toe with these police officers because we're not going to win. We're not going to win. You know,
no.
I mean, you heard the mother out there saying, you know.
Okay, so Reggie, so even those who we have seen in the very near past, who were complying, who were not trying to go toe to toe, they were basically surrendering.
Sandra Bland.
Oh, yeah. They were basically surrendering. Do you think it makes a difference? It doesn't matter. We see the
white attitudes from white cops who think they are God and kings. Their attitudes are not going to change. Okay, Sarah Bland was one of them. That officer, she was pissing that officer off. The more she talked, the more irritated he got because it's a black woman challenging him. Okay, and that's the attitude these guys have when it comes to blacks. They look at us as less than human. They look at us like trash, like always supposed to say, yes, sir, master. I'll get out the car, master.
Just like that woman they hogtied and put in the back of the police car a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Who was so scared for her life, she actually called him master.
Yeah, and that's how they look at us. That's what they still see us as slaves. The only thing slavery did, it got us off the farm where we had to work our butts off all day long. But they gave us nothing to get our lives started. It was never no 40 acre and a mule. That never happened. And so we still, hey, look, I'll be dead and gone, and we're still going to be struggling as black Americans.
Knock on wood, that's not for a long time.
I just excuse what I'm saying, shit ain't going to never change. And that's just the bottom line of it. You know, even as Democrats take office, you still got this racism out there that people still going to treat us harshly. It doesn't matter who's in charge. We are behind a freaking 8 ball when it comes to our rights.
100%.
You know.
So let's switch.
Thank you, Tony, because this is just getting me so mad.
I know it does. It becomes unnerving. So the latest was, I think, a couple of days ago or a day ago, Pence's people were testing positive for COVID, 5 people. But he's continuing to campaign. What say you, as
He's
Jay
like
Arrington would say?
Yeah, he's like one of the freaking horses of the apocalypse. Him and Trump, they don't care. And you know what's so despicable is we had so many Americans die from this. So many Americans in their age group die. So many Americans with fewer health problems than Trump does. But
Right.
they are all assured that they are going to get the best possible care. And I'm really torn between believing they tested positive and not. One, I can't believe the sheer dumb luck that they would test positive and be asymptomatic. All of them. Everyone in that administration, right? Except for Chris Christie.
No.
He got it bad. Chris Christie got it bad. You know, that they would all test positive and be asymptomatic. And it's just so unjust. And then for his campaign manager to post on the website that one of their accomplishments is beating this pandemic, which has not been beaten. We're in a third surge right now, and we have more daily cases than before.
Right, because I'm really getting. I've been sick and tired of hearing, "Oh, we're rounding the turn and we're turning the corner, and this thing is going away as we speak."
Yeah, we did a full 360. That's what we did.
But the numbers are going up. Fucking idiots. Excuse me. Idiots. The numbers are going up. And I don't understand how you can take your red, orange ass into these cities, gather all these people, not take advantage of the guidelines of the CDC for social distancing and masking. And your own people are testing positive every day. And you have spewed this information out to them. Oh no, it's I recovered. But people are still sick. And then you've got these folks who follow him and they believe every word he says. But what I did notice, just I think it was yesterday or the day before, at one of his rallies, you don't have the rah-rah section behind him as they normally would act. They were all sitting. They weren't reacting. You know, every now and then you see somebody do this. What the hell? Do you think that they're now are they turning the corner and deciding to move away from Trump?
No, they're idiots. Okay, they're idiots who think they can never die. Okay? You know, when you look at it, let's put it this way, we have too much freedom here in the United States, okay? That's just the bottom line of it. The Constitution gives us so much freedom that it gives us freedom to act stupid, okay? You give them freedom to act stupid, I'm gonna wear my mask. But when you look at these European countries, Italy and Spain, France, and all these countries, when they shut it down, they put some police in the cars out there to hold the streets down, and you take your butt in the house and you stay in there until they say you can come back outside. Okay, we don't do that. You know, 45 and some of the Republican conservatives, all they were talking about tyranny. Like she was some prostitute hanging on the corner. Okay, that's all they talked about. Freedom. My freedom's being crushed upon. And then when one of them gets sick, you see him on TV. Well, I thought this thing wasn't gonna get me, but I'm telling y'all now, it gets you and bring you down. You know. Look at Herman Cain. You even got black folks going around thinking they're superhuman, that they can't catch this. Look at Herman Cain. They didn't even mention his name at the Republican convention that he had passed away.
Not at all. Not at all. They don't care. But they will mention. They'll mention the names of white folks.
No, that knucklehead in the White House has brainwashed these folks to believing that they are superhuman and that they can't catch. I'm gonna tell you, Biden gonna win because by next Tuesday, half of them gonna be in the hospital or at home sick. They're not gonna be able to go vote.
You know, Trump said in one of his earlier campaigns and he's been campaigning since he won, right? That he's done more campaigning than any other president in history from the point that he took office, more than actual work. He actually
doesn't
said,
really know he's a president. He's campaigning,
yeah,
unlike an incumbent.
he said, if you're on your deathbed, make sure you vote. Something like, if it's the last thing you do, make sure you vote. I don't care if you've got pneumonia, go out and vote. Like, I mean, we are just fodder for the gristmill, fodder for the cannon. That is it. And him and his entire brood need to go. And I swear to God, I cannot wait. And I hope if the Democratic Party is really going to get some big fat hairy balls, if we can win more seats in the Senate and the House and the presidency, to hold this man accountable, him and his family, for the things that they have done during this administration and how they've monetized the presidency and lied to the public. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why he's so desperate to win, because he worries whether or not he'll have the legal protections he has now.
Course.
And I would take a
won't.
week off of work to watch that.
But you know what? Look, you've got to believe that his attorneys have told him he will not have the legal protection that he has right now if he is not voted back into office. This bastard is running scared. That's why he has chosen all the tactics that he has. That's why he has been basically talking, first the ballots don't count, the voting system is rigged, and he wasn't saying that in the very beginning. He wasn't saying that
will be destroyed. Yeah, suburbs will be destroyed. Senior citizens won't have air conditioning.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
But they're buying it.
That's the crazy part. But he wasn't doing this in the very beginning of his first run when he was campaigning. Now everything is fake. Everything is fake.
Well, he started the fake news during his first campaign, during his when he was first running.
Well, and you know why? Because that's when that was not TMZ, Access Hollywood. That's when he started it. When all the news was coming out about his indiscretions, that's when it became fake news.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the voting system. It had to do with him covering up all the things that he's done in his past.
These people are so indoctrinated. I unfortunately, because of this show, I have been subject to a lot of bullshit because of this show. Let me say, I have signed up for various right-wing newspapers on Facebook just to see what people are saying, see the nonsense that they're spreading. And, I had to back out of a couple of them because it was just, insane, like the fake African-American groups, the fake pro-Trump, fake Republican groups or whatever. But the Sun is this rag sheet, this right-wing rag sheet, and they are decidedly pro-Trump. But the other day they posted something that was not pro-Trump, and I can't remember. Oh, I think it was about Social Security and his plans to cut into Social Security, which will have a direct impact on veterans, etc. And these same people that read the Sun every day and believe all the nonsense, bullshit, conspiracy, QAnon nonsense that's produced by them started coming out going, oh, this is fake news. I'm like, really? Just last night you were sucking the teat of the Sun because everything they said was gospel, but now it's fake news.
Yeah. But see, this happens only because they are picking and choosing what is fake news. Whatever feels good to them, whatever looks good to them, however it benefits them, that is when it becomes, this rally or this volley as to if something is fake news or not. They're going to pick and choose. But it's the same media that is reporting the things that you said were fake yesterday that you're saying is true today.
What I would like to see in the new administration, putting some positive thoughts out into the universe that we get rid of this guy. I'm all for freedom of speech and we all have the right to express our opinion. But if you are going to call yourself a journalistic entity, a news source, then I really do think that there needs to be some accountability in ensuring that they are only reporting facts. Because there's a difference between reporting the facts of an event or the facts of a law and reporting a twisted view, interpretation. As we've seen with Fox News and so many of these other right-wing newspapers, oh, they passed a law supporting pedophilia. No, they didn't. And just nonsense like that. I wish that there would be stronger actions against organizations that call themselves news sources that are promoting lies. They're lying to the American people. How is not considered treasonous? You're purporting yourself to be an informational resource to help keep an informed population. If you want to have an opinion newspaper, fine. Let it be said that it's all opinion. People can wipe their ass with it for all I care. But if you're going to call yourself a reputable news source, then I think that there needs to be some sort of accountability. Because you got OAN now, which is vying to be the new electronic version of Fox, and all of these other fake right-wing Breitbart nonsense, info wars bullshit, and it's rotting these people's brains.
But you can't do that because you're going to infringe on your right to free speech.
No, they can still speak it. Just call it an opinion piece.
You still can't do that because you made a good point. The word you use, interpretation. Whatever I see happening on the street, and I report about it, it's going to be my interpretation of what I see. Okay, and hopefully my interpretation is going to be true. To the point of it's going to expound on the fact of what I saw, not what I make up when I see it. That's a problem. I've had these conversations, and the thing is, people like these right-wing papers, they're going to take the news and they're going to turn it in a way they want to spin it. Okay, and I think the problem is we got too much daggone news on the TV. You got MSNBC 24 hours. You got CNN 24 hours. You got Fox News 24 hours. There's so much news out there that everybody's spinning it different. The way MSNBC spins it, CNN doesn't spin it the same way.
You still have to cite your sources, though. If it's one thing to say, I saw a man on the street attack another man. It's another thing, because that's literally what you saw. It's another thing to say, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, leftist attacks, et cetera, et cetera. What's your source to prove that it's Black Life, Antifa, or a leftist?
I see.
You don't see it. They're not wearing a tag on them that says BLM or Antifa
what they
or
see,
leftist.
And they're going to tag it the way they see it. Their feeling's going to be, well, that was Antifa and Black Lives Matter doing this. And it's always going to be a spin put on the news. The best thing we can do is shut news down to a reputable hour, maybe midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning when everybody's asleep, But we get so inundated with news, you can look at all three channels and see a different spin on a certain issue that's taking place.
Look, when you're talking about laws that have been passed.
Yeah, but wait a minute. But don't you think that a lot of we know that CNN and MSNBC report differently, okay? And it's all about the grammatics of it, how it's actually said, and how, but grammatics of it is a lot of the way it is spent. The grammatics of it, the words that they choose on how to report it, that is how they spin it. It's whoever is writing that news story, okay? Whatever words they choose to use in that, when they're pulling that screen in front of those newscasters, it's how it's written, okay? But don't you think that a lot of this has to do with us as citizens, us as readers, and those who take in the news? And we are the ones who are counting on these news media and these organizations to give us the truth. Don't you think that we can easily go to AP, Associated Press, and you can look up the news system yourself? You can look at that story yourself, and you can discern whether or not MSNBC has put a spin on it simply by using a comma, because it makes a difference. That's what journalism is all about. You can write the truth all day long, but if you put a comma in there or a semicolon, it's going to change the scope of that story. I know how news is written. Yes. Reggie should know that makes a difference.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I can write it and spin it any way I want to spin it, and people are going to read it. Now, Larry Nance made a good point on Joy on Sunday morning. He said, if you want unbiased news about American politics, get your news from BBC or from the newspaper in Paris. They have no skin in the game, so they're going to report the news the right way,
as it is.
As it is. They're not going to spin it because they have no reason. Why would BBC spin the American news? It doesn't benefit them. Why would a newspaper in Paris spin the American news? It doesn't benefit them.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I guess the issue I have is when you get these sites that are describing laws that have been passed and they blatantly lie about the law that was passed to drum up fear. And then I have an issue with that. That's not about witnessing. It's not a matter of interpretation. That law says ABC is legal. It doesn't say ABC and D is legal. You can't infer that D is legal. It is what it is. So.
But sure, you got to remember, everybody's not as smart as you are. Okay, they're gonna see. If you take those 45, the idiots that follow 45. They see news just the way it's written. You could make it in cartoons, the capital letters, and everything, and that's what they're going to read, and that's what they're going to accept. They dumb down, okay? Fox News dumbs down them folks, okay?
Oh, 100%. You had a woman that was interviewed online recently who says, I'm on all social media. I do my research. Very serious, so... Yeah, look, I know. It's very good.
What kills me when they say they voted for 45 because he's done everything he said he's going to do. I'm looking at what has he done other than put 3 justices on the Supreme
Court? He didn't make Mexico pay for it. He didn't abolish Obamacare. He didn't fix the economy. He tripled our deficit. 200,000 people died. And meanwhile, all the Benghazi people are silent, right? But they're not saying zip about 220,000.
So much for Black people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And meanwhile, now, what did he do? What did we just read the other day? That he signed an executive order that'll make it all but impossible for HBUs to get federal funding. But this is the guy who did the photo op.
Those that don't know should already. They need to look it up. HBCUs are already going to get their money.
But
that's the way it's going to be. He didn't do shit.
Yeah, but if they have courses or seminars that teach on racism and sensitivity, they're going to lose that. Okay? My wife, they had a conference call the other day, and the administrator for NASA said, look, don't y'all go to none of those classes on sensitivity. Don't even mention the word sensitivity. You could get fired for just talking about sensitivity on the job and racism. Okay,
ain't that?
That's what he said, and that's where the concern is about HBCUs. He's going to handicap them now. Black colleges, he's going to handicap them so they won't discuss racism, sensitivity, those kind of things.
Yeah, but this is also the man who made a big brouhaha about having a photo op with HBUs, and you had people in the community going, those few right-wing African-American Republicans that supported him say, he's given to HBUs, he supports HBUs, he's done more for this community. What has he done for this community? I don't know. What has he done? He freed one Black woman.
That was a Omarosa picture taken about 2 years ago. She didn't want to take that picture. That photo op. And then they're using the campaign. They all mad now because all of them are nonprofits. And then the pictures up there on the campaign screen.
But look, what's he done for Black people? What's he done for women? What's he done for immigrants? What's he done for veterans? What's he done for disabled people? Nothing. So I just wanted to bring it back to that, because it's not only that he hasn't done anything for our community. He hasn't done anything for any of these communities.
For anyone.
Yeah.
But look, very quickly, I saw where the guy was talking about, one of the viewers was talking about how they turned up. Brian was talking about Philly's being torn apart tonight. Now, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on burning down a city? To bring an understanding to the problem that's happening. Now, when I looked at Philly this morning, they had broken into a Foot Locker. Everybody was getting a new pair of sneakers. How does that, put focus on the shooting of this young man?
It doesn't. It doesn't. It flips the narrative.
Yeah. And that's what we got to stop doing. The community leaders have to work with the people in the community and say, look, we can tear up the city as much as possible, but you're taking away from the narrative about this young man being killed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think there is a certain element in the communities every time something like this happens that uses it as an opportunity to get what they want.
Yeah.
But those same people doing all that looting last night probably not going to haven't voted and probably would not vote.
Right.
Because they've been convinced their vote doesn't matter.
Right.
No, they're not registered, okay?
Oh, God.
They're not registered.
I know there was talk about a while back about during Obama's administration about automatically registering people to vote once they turn 18. I don't understand why we don't do that in a country that likes to claim being the bastion of democracy.
Because you infringing on my rights. Why you gonna make me vote at 18? I don't want to be registered to vote. You infringing on my rights.
You don't have to use it, but you get registered. You're right to what?
That's what's gonna happen. Them Trump folks, they gonna say you're infringing on their rights again. If you register to vote, if I ask them, do they want to?
And they can opt out. How about that?
I like the way you say rights. I like the way you say rights.
Oh boy! Lord have mercy.
All right. Well,
hey, look,
us
one more thing. Did y'all see that? Hey, look, did y'all see that picture I posted on Facebook where it was a big hole in the ground and with a Trump sign coming up and everybody was running and jumping down in the hole? That's how they are. They're far to do the hell and back.
That's them. That's them. All right. So wrap it up for me, Reg. Give me your last thought.
People, if you haven't voted, go vote. Please vote. We got to make a change. We need this change. And encourage your Democratic representative to get down and dirty. That's the only way we're going to get things done. We got to start throwing back the stuff that the playbook they wrote. We need to use that playbook and not be so timid. Because if we get everything back for this 4 years and we don't use it correctly and we don't do the things we need to do, people are going to get pissed off and they're going to go back to the Republican Party again.
Yep.
That's the cycle. Okay.
It's been real. This hour went by quick.
Yeah, I know y'all are infringing on my rights, okay? Y'all infringing on my rights tonight. Got me in here doing news with y'all. Y'all telling lies on here. Y'all ain't telling the truth on here.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been a great show. Make sure that you follow Real World News TV on Facebook. They are here every Tuesday night. The show always begins at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Central, 8:30 on the East Coast. Yes, ma'am.
What's the date? Is it what are we doing next Tuesday? That's gonna be a very stressful night. We tried that for you 3 years ago.
I'm gonna be on here drinking next Tuesday night. I don't know about y'all.
Jesus, I'm scared.
I'm gonna get here a bottle of champagne.
Well,
I was up till 4 in the morning that year.
What we did was last election, didn't we? We chose
on,
the network,
but we were shell shocked. We were like this.
Yeah, exactly. We chose a network. I think Reggie took CNN. I took MSNBC. I don't know. And then we were kind of reporting.
Yeah, we were going back and forth. We can do that this time. Go back and forth. I take CNN, you take MSNBC, and Sharon, you take Fox News.
Don't you?
I was gonna say that.
Oh, you just want me to curse? That's what it is.
You take Fox News and follow. Let's just go back and forth because, in all honesty, we're not going to know who won who wins, or who won on
No.
Tuesday night. Now that funny guy, that woman with the orange hair, this is what he said today. He don't think it's lawful to count votes after midnight. That at midnight you should declare a winner.
We should just stop that. I don't think we should just stop it right there.
Yep.
Okay, Dummy doesn't realize that the Secretary of State has to certify the election.
The election.
That's when it's all over with. Yep. Not because he said it's a law. That dude is like,
no, he's an idiot.
He flunked out of kindergarten.
I'm so fucking surprised. He's an idiot.
He flunked out of kindergarten.
Oh dear Lord!
Somebody said the other day on the news, they wonder if anybody cheated off his paper when they were in school.
That I can almost guarantee you that man has never taken a test in his life.
No, someone else did it for him. That's someone else did it for him.
At first, I thought Derek was saying P tape. Then I saw it said P.
Oh my God. Well, it's been great. Tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio, actually, we're stepping aside on some of the fun stuff. I think that it's important that we address some of the issues that are going on. But we're going to talk about racism as it is today. Because as we've been in this climate under number 45, things have shifted. People would say it's no worse than what it was before. People would say, no, there's no systemic racism. But as we've watched over the last 3 3/4 years, right? Racism has become something that is so now outwardly blatant that I think that it'll be a long time before we see the turn going back where it goes and hides itself in the sand. It's so blatant now. You find it more so where you're going out in public, you're in the grocery store, people are more rude to you than that they normally would be. On the job, they're more rude than they would be.
Did you see the Asian guy in California tell somebody that this was a no nigger zone?
Oh yeah,
he was a racist.
Yeah.
So with all of
fired.
So with all of what we've been going through, that's what we wanted to talk about tomorrow night. And it was a show suggestion, and we are taking that person up on their suggestion. Usually we do fun stuff, but tomorrow we're going to shake it up a little bit. So I'm hoping that you'll tune in to Hot Topics Talk Radio tomorrow night with me, Tony Breedlove, and Yvonne Baker. I'm getting hoarse. The show starts tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Central, and 11 o'clock on the East Coast, right here on Facebook under Hot Topics Talk Radio. But make sure that you come on back next week on Tuesday. We are going to be sitting here and analyzing the numbers as they come in for election night. I will be taking MSNBC. Reggie will be reporting from CNN. And Miss Jerry Ann Tappan, she's got the folks that talk about their rods.
I gotta get my husband to watch Fox News. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Sherry Ann, why don't you and your husband just take the C train downtown and just go sit in front of Fox News and do your portion of the show from Fox.
You could.
Oh my God! Like I want to freeze my ass off in front of Fox News. That COVID infested. Forget about it. But before I forget, I just want to give a shout out to my sister Colleen. Happy belated birthday. I love you.
So go downtown next Tuesday night. Take your lawn chair. You and your husband go sit down from the big window down there where they you can see inside what they're doing, and y'all can report from down there for Real World News TV.
I might even take the next day off. Because I don't know what's going to happen. The mayor and the NYPD have said that there might be some civil unrest, whichever direction this goes in. So, but just if Voldemort wins, I might need to take the day off just to sort of make myself right somehow so that I can go to work and fake the funk, because I just don't. I can't.
Well, it's an interesting time. It's an interesting time. And like I said, tomorrow night we're doing Racism Today, but on Thursday night, Truth Brothers, who are now officially a part of the Hot Topics Talk Radio Network, they will actually be doing a show on what if Trump wins. Yeah, I mean, we got to look at it. So they'll be doing that on Thursday night. Tomorrow night, me and Yvonne will be talking about Racism Today. And you guys did a fantastic job on bringing us all up to date on the latest news and politics. So come on back, everybody. Thank you for joining in and your continued support. We really, truly appreciate you. We really do. So we hope you enjoy the show. And we're going to go ahead and try and get out of here.
Wear your bang the hats next week now. Come on now.
Go get you some vittles.
So you don't take away my rods.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Please be safe and just watch yourself. Just watch yourself and watch those behind you. Okay?
And wear your mask.
Wear your mask. That's right. Seriously.
Yeah. Peace.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.